this morning.
Good.
How you doing, Senator?
Good.
I'd just like to say, God gave me a right to stand my ground with 30 rounds. He gave me the right to drink water. But he didn't give me the right to have sex with children in the Dominican Republic. If there's going to be any background checks, you should do background checks on yourselves before you start giving one on me.
What are you talking about, Bill?
The fella up there that's been on the little junket to Dominican Republic.
Are you referring to Senator Menendez? Charges
Yes,
against
ma'am.
Senator Menendez?
Yes, ma'am. I think they ought to do some background checks in their own party before they start messing with me.
I appreciate Bill. I appreciate that. Again, I sort of go back to the response to an earlier caller. I don't believe that the unconditional right to own a gun is a God-given right. I just don't believe that. We made a decision, human beings made a decision over 200 years ago to write into the Constitution a ability for individuals to own guns. And as I stated before, that right has never been absolute. And maybe you don't agree with this, but most gun owners agree that that right comes with conditions. That they don't believe that gun owners, the majority of gun owners, don't believe that they should have access to every agree that that right comes with conditions. That they don't believe that gun owners, the majority of gun owners, don't believe that they should have access to every single weapon that the military has access to. So we've always drawn that line. And in fact, 78% of gun owners, according to one recent survey, support background checks to just make sure that we're not giving guns to criminals, to people who are literally going to buy that gun, take it, and shoot somebody, or we're giving guns to people who have been adjudicated as so seriously mentally ill that they pose a danger to society. If you're not a criminal, then you pass a background check in a matter of minutes. That's what our background check system is today. And the vast majority of Americans, and in fact the vast majority of NRA members, support the idea that we should use a background check system just to make sure that criminals aren't getting their hands on guns. And that's one of the limitations that's built into that amendment, an amendment that isn't God-given, an amendment that is granted by a decision of our forefathers. I think a wise one, frankly, but one that has always come with common sense limitations.
And the Miami Herald reports on Senator Menendez and the allegations against him and his defense. It says that the 58-year-old Democrat faces several serious accusations for his links to Solomon Melgen, a West Palm Beach eye doctor and wealthy donor under investigation by the FBI. But the veteran of New Jersey's rough-and-ready politics has vehemently denied any wrongdoing and is expected to fight back vigorously. Let's go to
assault weapons and capacity magazines. If you take it away from the law-abiding citizens, what are you going to do about the gangs and the drug people and the people that use them to rob banks and stuff?
Well, another good point, right? Because we clearly acknowledge that the Second Amendment protects your right to have a gun for self-protection. I agree with that. And the question is just what kind of firepower do you need in order to protect yourself? The reality is that most people that have a gun in their home for self-protection, that gun is much more likely to be used to kill them than it is to kill an intruder. And those are the facts, that guns that people have in people's homes are more likely to kill them. That was the case for Nancy Lanza, right? Nancy Lanza had that Bushmaster in the house as well as several other pistols, reportedly, in order to protect herself. She'd gotten divorced. She was living by herself along with her son in that house, and she thought she needed some guns to protect herself. Her son also had an interest in firearms, and so that may have been part of the reason as well. That gun that Nancy Lanza thought she had in order to protect herself from intruders got used to kill her, and then it got used to kill 20 little kids down the street at Sandy Hook Elementary School and 6 of their teachers. That's the reality of what happens today. And so I don't deny the right, the portion of the Second Amendment which allows somebody to keep a weapon for self-defense, but let's just acknowledge that most of the time that weapon that is in the house for self-defense doesn't get used for that reason. It gets used to kill the person in the house, or it gets used for a suicide by a family member in the house. And as Vice President Biden has said, there are still a lot of high-powered weaponry out there, like a shotgun, that would do a much better job, or just do as effective a job of taking on an intruder as an assault weapon or a weapon with a high-capacity magazine would do.
Senator Murphy, what are your...
Senator, every concerned about high-capacity magazines. The only reason I would like to have high-capacity magazines is tyranny in my government, which is very close right now. The Democrats and Republicans look exactly alike. And we're going to have to take our government back, and now we have all the planes and tanks and everything, all the high-capacity magazines that they need. Americans need to protect themselves from our government. I'm not worried about terrorists. I'm not worried about any of the other BS that they bring to us all the time, saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. People wake up. Our government is going sideways.
Tony, what does that look like to you?
What's that?
What does that look like to you? What do you mean when you say protect against the government?
Well, look at our infinite wisdom. They passed the Patriot Act. If anyone read the Patriot Act, I get goosebumps just thinking about what I read in the Patriot Act. That's a sick thing. They can come to anyone's house right now today and say, we accuse you of being a terrorist, and we have secret documentation that you are a terrorist. And guess what? You can't look at it because it's national security, so we're going to hide you away in these deals. And you know, a lot of people think that sounds ridiculous, but look what happened in Germany. First they registered their guns, then they took their guns. And this country has come to the same thing.
All right, let's get Senator Murphy to respond.
Yeah, I do think that's ridiculous. I do. I think comparisons to the Nazis are over the top, and I didn't support the Patriot Act. I didn't. I thought it overstepped its bounds, but I also didn't think that it was a vehicle for the federal government to swoop down into people's houses with black helicopters and spirit them away in the middle of the night. I just don't believe that that's the agenda. And